Scene one, take one, Mark.
Hi everybody, it's Tony Soto here.
Hi, Tony.
I am an internet personality.
Hey, me too. I'm also an internet personality. Well, kind of. At least, I think I am. My mom thinks I'm cool.
And I'm from Los Angeles, California. Oh, you mean like for real? In life?
For real in life?
Is this real life?
And I'm originally from Central Illinois.
I wonder if there was ever a Formula 500 show called Race in America. If not, there really should have been.
Privilege is like a drug.
Oh, a drug! In the sense that it has to be manufactured and paid for, and its continued availability is not guaranteed? Doesn't sound like much of a privilege then, does it?
It feels great, you want it really bad, but you don't admit to having it when you're in mixed company.
I want it really bad. But if it's a privilege, I just have it, don't I? There's no desire involved. It's just a reflexive part of being who or what I am. Doesn't sound that much like a privilege then, does it?
My story is a little different. As mentioned earlier, I was raised in Central Illinois to a mixed family, my mother being white and my father being Mexican.
Ah, yes. I remember fondly my anthropology class in high school, where we learned about the different races. We often discussed the odd magic of how being Mexican wasn't just a reference to a nationality, but also to a race unto itself. I love science.
My dad jumped the fence and settled in a very small town in Central Illinois, where he illegally worked making china vases in a factory.
Your father was a criminal. Got it.
Where he then met my mother, a cute little demure white lady with a bandana, a flannel shirt, and bell-bottom jeans. Well, needless to say, they just fell in love, and they had 3 wonderful mixed-race children. Ta-da! I was the best one.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure you were.
My father had a very distinct goal when he came to the United States. His goal was to try to live the American dream, live that sweet life, get that white privilege that y'all have and y'all just take for granted.
And he went about this by coming to this country illegally, breaking the rules to gain an advantage over other people, those who follow the laws and rules of this country. He sought the American dream while not bothering to go through the process of becoming an American citizen. Got it.
He ultimately did do pretty darn well for himself, but I think at a cost and at a price for us.
Was that price the inherent knowledge that your father could, at any point, be detained and deported from this country, putting you and the rest of your family at risk due to his poor choices?
I always knew I was Mexican, you know?
Yeah, I've had a similar experience. I've always known I was an American. Oh, but wait, weren't you born in this country? So, you're not Mexican.
We had Mexican food on a regular basis. We were Catholics, you know, so I knew that we were some sort of brown.
Eating Mexican food and being Catholic are indicators that someone is some sort of brown. Wow. I am becoming more and more educated as we go on.
But I was raised not to really adhere to that or to acknowledge that. I was raised to try to fit in with Cracker America. Like I was raised to be a white person.
Well, you've gone to great lengths to tell us that you are mixed race and brown. So by your own metrics, you're not white. But now you can be raised to be a white person. Being white is a matter of nurture and not nature. You equate being white with certain behaviors in Cracker America. So, behavior determines race, or race determines behavior. And if you can be taught to be white, does that mean you can be taught to have privilege? I'm confused.
I was always raised to be grateful that I was light-skinned, that, that people thought I was Italian and not so much Mexican.
So now you were raised to be white because you look Italian. You were raised to be grateful about the color of your skin. You were encouraged to think this way by your parents. Got it.
He never spoke Spanish to us. I didn't even know we had Mexican relatives until they all started showing up in droves, moving into my house while they got settled.
You didn't even know you had Mexican relatives. But a minute ago you said...
I always knew I was Mexican, you know?
Right. And these relatives arrived in droves to live in your house until they could get settled. Interesting choice of words there. Did your relatives settle here the same way your father did?
After all of these relatives started showing up and all of a sudden my Mexicanness got a lot more real to me, that's kind of when I started putting things into perspective and trying to understand that perhaps a whole part of me, my whole culture was kind of withheld from me. And I don't want to speak for my dad, but I feel like it was withheld from me because he was ashamed of it. He spent his life in Mexico trying to escape that poverty, and now I've been to where he was from. When you have to take a truck up a mountain to go to a shanty, that ain't no place to live, you know? So I understood his desire, his need, his want to be gone.
Understood. It sounds like a horrible way to live, truly. But poverty is no excuse for breaking federal law and bucking the rules that so many others work hard to play by in order to reside in this country legally.
I didn't and I don't still understand why he had to keep it from us.
Really? You don't understand? You don't understand why a person who is in this country illegally wouldn't tell his 3 children information that might tend to raise suspicions should anyone in law enforcement ever get wind of his situation? You don't understand why he would keep that information from young children who might innocently repeat it to their friends or teachers. You don't understand that. Got it.
When I started to learn to accept where I'm from and who I am and what I am...
But you told us where you're from.
And I'm originally from Central Illinois.
So, you are an American. You are not Mexican.
It also made me very aware that I really kind of hated who I was and where I came from and what my roots were. And that I was really embarrassed that no one could understand my father. You never want to have that kind of hatred about yourself or your roots because you have no control over that.
You never want to have that kind of hatred about yourself or your roots because you have no control over that. Well, I completely agree. Hatred for things one has no control over about themselves is a lousy way to live. Now, tell me again about white privilege.
And now, I live my life as a very proud Latino person.
Oh, so now you're a proud Latino person. Latino isn't a race either, but hey, you're getting warmer.
But I definitely feel like I was cheated out of my culture.
Yes, your father withheld information from you. You were cheated out of your heritage, probably because your father cheated in coming to this country.
And I feel like this stems from the idea that, yeah, the American dream is beautiful and it's wonderful. But the American dream layout and format doesn't always fit a different culture's lifestyle.
The American dream and format doesn't fit another culture's lifestyle. Well, it is the American dream. And if part of your lifestyle requires hiding your immigration status from the authorities, then yes, I suppose that indeed does not function within the format of the American dream.
And because my father wanted that so bad, the American dream so bad, he was willing to just shrug off everything that happened before that and withheld it from his kids and made us embarrassed of it when we should have actually been celebrating it.
Right. So again, all of this cultural confusion, self-consciousness, self-hatred, and so on, all of it was a result of your father's choices. To illegally reside in this country, to have children while being here illegally, and withholding his past from you. And did you ever consider that, maybe, your father was ashamed of his culture? A culture that would allow people like him to live in abject poverty? A culture that makes the risk of crossing the border illegally a more desirable option than living in Mexico? Maybe that's why he was so reticent about instilling in you a culture that had failed him. And yet you say he did quite well for himself. He got married, had 3 kids, and thrived despite his country of origin and in the face of his being here illegally. If an illegal alien can still attain all that comprises the mythical American dream, what exactly was your complaint again? As always, thank you for watching.